RMIT University 中文的话就是墨尔本皇家理工大学我们是located 在墨尔本的。So Woman Jacket, this is welcome in the Victorian Aboriginal language of the Wurundjeri people, which is something that RMIT would normally do when we start off our presentation. So if you have any questions regarding RMIT, regarding your application or any courses, you can get in touch with PROEDU and we will be able to assist you accordingly. So RMIT University, we are founded in 1887. So we are more than 100 years old and we are one of the largest tertiary education providers in Australia. At the present moment, we have approximately 5 campuses around the world, 3 in Melbourne, 2 in Vietnam, as well as 1 more, which is a postgraduate research center in Barcelona, Spain. We are also very, very well connected with more than 450,000 alumni across the world, and we have more than 200 universities partners around the world as well. So RMIT University as a university, we only turned into a university in 1992, which means we are still quite young as a university, but we are very old as an institution. So we have exited very, very long ago, and then we have been teaching a lot of like diplomas courses or hands-on practice and practical learning courses until 1992, where we turned into a full-fledged university. So as a university, we are still under 50 years old, but as an institution, we are more than 100 years old. So these are some quick facts about RMIT University. So RMIT University, we have approximately 97,000 students from 230 different countries studying in RMIT at present moment. So technically speaking, this 97,000 obviously is not only for Melbourne campus, but it's also for our Vietnam campus. Melbourne campus will have approximately about 70,000 and another 20,000 is from our Vietnam campus as well as our Barcelona campus. So RMIT is also ranked number 1 in Australia for our graduate employment rate. And we are ranked number 4 in terms of partnership with employers. This would mean that a lot of the companies likes to work with RMIT University to hire our students and graduates after they graduate from the university, because they know whatever that we teach the students, it's very relevant to what's actually happening in the industry later. So I'm going to show you some slides later about how practical learning and how industry focused RMIT syllabus is, but I'll just go through the overall about RMIT University first. So in terms of ranking of programs, RMIT is ranked number 1 in Australia in terms of our arts and design programs, and we are also ranked number 15 in the world. We offer more than 450 different types of programs, ranging all the way from foundation up to master's degree level. So technically speaking, if you want to study something in RMIT, technically we would offer them in some level. It's just that the only things that we don't offer is probably medicine, dental, veterinary science, actuarial science. These are the common 4 programs that we don't offer in RMIT University. Okay, so we are located in Melbourne. Melbourne is the number 6 most livable city in the world and number 6 best student city in the world. So Melbourne is generally, I think some of you in this room here may have already visited Melbourne. You can see that Melbourne is a very vibrant and welcoming multicultural city, where you will see a lot of like different food around the city center when you're just walking around, because there's a lot of like people migrated over to Melbourne and it's very multicultural, and you can see a lot of like not only food festivals but also like arts and craft festivals or movie festivals that's happening in the city center. And of course, one of the most biggest festival will be our Melbourne Fashion Week as well, which you will definitely see it across a lot of like news when it's happening in Melbourne. Melbourne is also the number 6 best city in the world in terms of food and dining. So there's a lot of like concerts and all those held in Melbourne as well. Just now I mentioned that we have 3 campuses in Melbourne, 2 in Vietnam. We also have flying schools. So obviously flying schools would be more towards the piloting programs. So the Melbourne City campus, which is our main campus, is the home to 60,000 students. Technically speaking, majority of the programs are held in the city campus, except for like a couple of programs which is outside of the city campus. So if let's say you're studying business or communications design or communications program, you'll be in the city campus. And Brunswick campus is one of our small boutique little campus, which is only the home to approximately about 5,000 students. And in Brunswick campus, they only do fashion and textile design. So if let's say you are interested to do fashion design like clothing and all, or textile design or textile technologies, they will be in Brunswick campus. So you know how fashion design students, when they graduate or every year when they progress into the next year, they would always have like a fashion parade or a fashion show that they need to showcase their projects to the public as well as to their academics or teachers. Brunswick campus actually have a runway that you can actually use it for that purpose. So a lot of students, or every year when the students are about to graduate or about to progress into the next year, they will all a lot of students do go visit Brunswick campus because they would want to visit that fashion show. Bandura campus is our dedicated health science campus, where it's slightly further away. You know how when you have like engineering, it's like civil engineering, sometimes you need to test the building to see how stable they are. You need to imitate the or simulate the earthquake condition. So all these equipments are actually quite big. It's quite impossible to put it in the heart of the city center. Or if let's say you do chemical engineering, there might be like chemical leaks. It's very dangerous to be in the city center. Hence, we have a dedicated campus for our health sciences, sciences and engineering, which is Bandura. So majority of our engineering and science labs are actually in Bandura campus. Health courses like chiropractic, nursing, they also need like much bigger vicinity for you to actually, test on patient. They have all those like beds where your patients would be on the bed itself. Bandura campus is also the dedicated campus for our health related courses. Vietnam, we have 2 campuses. Obviously, Vietnam don't offer all the programs that RMIT Melbourne offer, but they offer probably about 10 to 15% of the courses that RMIT Melbourne do offer. We also have 2 smaller campuses in Melbourne, which is the Bendigo campus and the Point Cook campus. So Bendigo campus and Point Cook campus, they are not like proper campus, but they are more like flying school. It's more like a tiny little campus where they have all the like a small little airport. They can do like their flight scheduling and flight plans, and then they will do their classrooms in that particular campus. So Bendigo and Point Cook campus is only for pilot programs. Okay, so this is the overall little map about Melbourne. So Melbourne City campus is like in the heart of the city center, and Brunswick campus is only approximately about 5 kilometers away. So if you just take a bus, it's probably only going to be 15 kilometers away from the city center. And then if let's say you have to go to the Bandura campus, then it's probably about 35 to 45 minutes away. So it's like further out. And Point Cook campus is about an hour away, and Bendigo campus is about 2 hours away. So obviously Point Cook campus and Bendigo campus, because they're dedicated piloting program campus, you need to put like aeroplanes, you need to have like the runway for the aircraft to take off, right? So it can never be near the city center. So this is the city center. In RMIT, we have 170 buildings in the city campus. So it's not like one door in and then you see all the campus, all the buildings at the back. But for RMIT city campus, it's actually quite scattered around, even though we are a little bit like concentrated in the red color box that I'm showing you here, where majority of the buildings are located inside here. But we do have like a couple here and there, like maybe like one outside here and then one here, quite scattered around. So RMIT dominates 7% of the numbers of buildings in the city center. So these buildings could be like very, very high-rise buildings, but they could be also like, short buildings like this green one here. So this green building is a building that probably, if let's say you study in RMIT, is a building that you will all visit, because the International Student Hub is in this particular building. So if let's say you have any visa issues, or you want to visit the campus before you want to enroll yourself into RMIT, this would be the meeting point for you to meet up with our colleagues. If let's say you want to organize a tour in the campus, then you can meet them there, and then they will show you around and bring you around to see the facilities of the university. And in terms of transportation, it's very, very easy in Melbourne, whereby in this particular box here, anything that is inside the box is free of charge. You can either take a tram or you can take a bus anywhere within this city loop, then it's going to be free of charge for you. So some students prefer to walk, some students want to take, catch a tram from here and then go all the way down. It is possible as well. It's if only you are traveling outside of this box and outside of the city center, then you have to pay for your transportation. Just now I mentioned that we offer more than 450 different programs internationally recognized. So these are the subject area that we do offer our programs in. For example, under business, we obviously have like accountancy, marketing, management, blockchain enabled business, finance, etc. So this is the area. And then for architecture, we have like landscape architecture, bachelor's of architectural design, and then urban and regional planning. So depending on what program you want to study, technically we would have something that would be suitable for you. So some students that I mentioned earlier, they are keen to start off in Australia and then, can I go somewhere else to study for one semester? It is definitely possible. So RMIT work with more than 250 universities around the world, depending on what you study, and obviously depending on what program you are actually enrolled in RMIT, you have the opportunity to do like a global study exchange program. So that means you are an RMIT student, but you want to study one semester abroad, you can just apply. But of course, there will be other terms and conditions that each program will have different terms and conditions, which I cannot really cover in just one presentation like this. But feel free, if let's say you are interested in, you can enroll into RMIT, and then we will have our team of people in RMIT actually to guide you on the process on applying for a different university for our exchange program worldwide as well. Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, RMIT is a very practical learning university. So how does this work? There are a couple of ways. One of the ways is the syllabus that RMIT is teaching our students is unlike your school syllabus right now. You learn from the book. Today, you learn from page 1 to page 10. Tomorrow, you learn from page 11 to page 15. It doesn't work that way in RMIT. So RMIT actually built our own syllabus. We create our own content, our own lecture slides that it's very relevant to what is actually happening in the industry right now. So for example, if you can think of like, we actually have a team of like academics to actually write the syllabus on like every 2 years or every 3 years. They will invite industry experts that are experts in their respective area to come in and sit on the academic board with our own teachers to actually create the syllabus. We will ask them, hey, what do you think is the trend that's going to happen in the next 5 to 10 years? What skill set do you think is lacking in terms of the students when they are actually applying into your companies as a fresh grad? So once we collected all this, we will then create our syllabus and teach it to our students. So by doing this, whatever that the students learn is not something that history that you only need to know about, but you cannot really apply it, but it's going to be something that's relevant. You learn about it, and then you can easily apply it when you go to work in the future. So with this collaboration relationship, it gives us a very, very good opportunity for us to work very closely with our industry partners from like different industry. So besides the syllabus, we also have industry partners giving assignments to our students to do. How does that work? So for example, if let's say I am from Apple. I have a new Apple iPhone that is coming out. I only have 15 designers working for Apple. I want them to actually create a poster that is very, very different from the previous Apple products that I want to change my Apple branding. So rather than only having the 15 designers to actually work for Apple to do that whole designing thing, if let's say it's give a design description as an assignment to our students, we have more than 100 students doing design program. The Apple can actually use our students' mind or head to think about 100 over designs that they can actually combine and create one design for themselves. So whatever that the students is doing is relevant to the industry, which is what is actually required in the industry right now. The industry people will also give our students feedback. So yes, obviously students are students, not necessarily every time the project or the assignment they do would make sense to the industry, but at least it gives them the opportunity to know what is actually happening in the industry right now. We also organize a lot of like guest lectures for industry experts to come into the university to conduct guest lectures to tell them that, hey, you know, what's actually happening in the industry, how can you actually make yourself stand out when you want to apply for a job in the future. Okay, 69% of our graduates would usually get a job 4 months after graduating from the university. So this is actually a very high percentage whereby most of the students do get the opportunity to, you know, work for like good companies within 4 months after they graduate from the universities. And in 2019 itself, I can't really compare with 2020 because it's a COVID year. 2019 itself, we have successfully placed approximately 12,000 students in more than 3,000 partners for work integrated learning. Work integrated learning and internship is slightly different. Internship is that you can apply to any company, you go into that company, they ask you to do what, you have to do whatever that the company asks you to do. Work integrated learning will be slightly different. You can only apply to RMIT Partners University, whereby the partners already agreed with the university to say that, hey, every year I can accept X number of students from your university and I will ensure them that I will teach them this. So regardless of you going to company A, me going to company B, your friend going to company C, by the time we finish our work integrated learning with our respective companies, our learning outcome or whatever that we learn in our respective companies will be very, very similar. And it's going to be very relevant and useful for our work in the future. Okay, so just to sum up, how are we very closely connected to our industry? It's via our work on industry projects with real clients, take part in local or overseas placement, enter projects competition judged by leading industry experts, attending field trips or clinical. This one is more towards like programs like chiropractic, where you need to have like clinical practice. Then you have to do the clinical trips as well. And of course, receiving mentoring by our industry experts. Okay, so this is just what I've mentioned earlier about how our courses are designed alongside with what the industry require, mentoring programs, as well as the research projects. So these are some of the big brands that RMIT work very, very closely with, but of course, it's not only limited to this. Depending on which area you're actually studying in the university, then it would sort of like tell you which are the companies that you can actually go into. RMIT Activator is something different. So, you know, a lot of students or a lot of young adults, every time when they want to, when they graduate from the university, they want to be their own bosses. They want to have their own startups. And startup business is very, very popular nowadays. RMIT Activator is a department where our RMIT would actually help the students look for investors. Obviously, when I say look for investors, it doesn't mean that they will just go into some companies and say, hey, I got got a student, I want you to invest in their projects. It doesn't work that way. But we will actually go and source out to see which are the investors that is actually interested to invest in certain projects. And then we will see our students' projects. If it's relevant to the industry people that wants to invest, then we will actually match them together. So it's a good platform for students that they do not know where to go. RMIT do also support our students in many other ways. So for example, if let's say you are interested in accommodation advice, or you want to know about career, how to look for a job, how to prepare for your resume writing, how to prepare yourself to stand out during an interview, our career advice, our job shop will be able to assist you accordingly. We also have like counseling support in terms of like, oh, I broke up with my boyfriend, I'm homesick, my boyfriend cheated on me. You can always use our counseling service. It's a one-to-one service, totally private and confidential. No one would know what you have actually discussed with our counselor within that room, and they will provide you whatever advice that you are required. We also have disability support, and of course we have other financial assistance such as scholarships opportunities, legal advice, and Safer Community. Safer Community is actually an RMIT app developed by our students for students. So this particular app, you can just download it on your iPhone or your Android device. In an event, if let's say you know that that particular night you are actually working very late in a particular classroom environment, you can just make sure that you check in into that app. Our guard would know that you're actually in that particular room. So when the guard do the rounds, they will then, oh no, okay, I better check on this person because there's one person that's actually checked in. He said that he will stay until like maybe 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. I need to make sure that he is safe. Or in case of emergency, let's say you are stuck in the lift, or you are someone is following you in the middle of the night, you can also use the app to get emergency help and support from our security guard as well. After talking about everything that is so much like serious and stuff, we move on to more about the social activities in RMIT. Like I mentioned earlier, we have approximately about 97,000 students in RMIT. There are a lot of clubs and societies that you can join. So there's more than 160 clubs and societies that you can consider joining. Of course, we have sporting facilities and sporting clubs that you can join. If you are very good, you may even be selected to represent a university in some inter-university competition. So every year we have this thing called the Inter-University Sports Day, where it's an Australian University Olympics. So if let's say you're representing the university, everything is going to be covered. And of course, we have other social and academic clubs and societies. Like if let's say you're very interested into space, or you are someone that, you know, like to look into the stars and stuff like that, then you can obviously consider joining all these academic related clubs and societies, or STEM related artificial intelligence clubs and societies. And creative one is more towards artistic style of stuff. So it really depends. Obviously, some of them will have a very minimal fee, which is like maybe $10 or $15 to join for them to actually run the activities. Some of them are free. So it really depends on what is your interest. But usually students would join like maybe 3 or 4 clubs and societies to, you know, get to know more people and do more things in the university. So foundation studies are usually suitable for students that are doing SPM or IGCSE. So if let's say you have completed SPM and IGCSE, you will need to do your foundation studies first before progressing into your undergraduate studies. For example, if let's say you're a UEC student, if you meet the direct entry requirement into our bachelor's degree program, you can go straight for the undergraduate bachelor's program. But if let's say you do not meet the entry requirement, you can also consider other programs such as the associate degree or the advanced diploma or the diploma program. However, it depends on what bachelor's degree you intend to do to determine whether can you do a diploma, advanced diploma, or an associate degree. Because there are some programs we offer at the undergraduate level, they may not necessarily have a diploma, or they may not necessarily have an advanced diploma or associate degree. So we need to know what you're actually interested in to determine what is your pathway that is actually available for you. So worst case scenario, if let's say there's no pathway for you, that obviously, unfortunately, you have to repeat your foundation year before you can join the bachelor's degree program. Your counselor in PROEDU would be able to assist you if you let them know what is your situation, what is your results like, and what is the program that you're interested in. They will do their job. Just leave it with them. They will organize something that is nicely done for you, like what is the pathway that you can take in order to achieve what you want to achieve in for your bachelor's degree program. In RMIT, for English requirement, we accept SPM English. So if let's say you're a UEC student, you did SPM, you can use your SPM English to apply. You will need to get a B for boy, in order for you to apply for the undergraduate program. If let's say you did not do well in your SPM English, you did not get a B, not to worry, there are still other English proficiency tests that you can consider doing, such as TOEFL, IELTS, PTE. They would help you meet the English requirement to actually help you go into the bachelor's degree program. But if let's say you're only doing foundation studies or vocational, the English requirement would be slightly lower. Scan this QR code. You will be able to see the 2023 e-guidebook. In this particular e-guidebook, you'll be able to see all the courses that's on offered by RMIT University, ranging from foundation all the way up to master's level. You can get in touch with your counselor in PROEDU. They will be able to use their voice to explain to you what is actually in this particular guidebook. All right. So I can see that a lot of you are actually interested in programs like computer science, business, or even design, right? So 如果你们想要知道你们的 UEC 的要求是什么的话呢，一个 Bachelor's Degree 大部分的课程呢是你需要拿到一个平均分2.2。我们怎样算这个2.2出来呢？是4分是总分，所以我们是 A1、A2 是4分 ，B3、B4 是3分，然后我们把你们的全部的成绩加起来除你们的number of subjects 在 UEC， 就拿到这个平均分。所以比如说你是拿不到这个2.2的话，你其实是有其他的选择，好像 diploma、associate degree 或者是 advanced diploma 是可以给你们选择的。所以我们是要看你们是要选什么课程来 determine 你们的要求，或者是你们的课程、你们的 pathway 是什么。So technically speaking, if let's say you're interested in computer science, like I've mentioned earlier, we work very closely with our industry. So Apple is actually one of our key partners for our computer science and IT related program. So if you scroll down here, this is not my RMIT website, yeah, this is an Apple website. So it's not something that RMIT created, but it's Apple actually lists RMIT as part of their partners in their website itself. So here it says that university or other tertiary education institutions that are incorporating Swift into their courses, which means we actually embed Swift teaching into our program. RMIT is the one and only Australia university that's actually mentioned in this list here. So this is how close we actually work with our industry partners to ensure that our students get to learn what is actually relevant to the industry right now. We have bachelors of computer science, we have bachelors of software engineering, we have bachelors of information technology. All of these three bachelor's degree programs offer artificial intelligence and cybersecurity as a major. So regardless of which program you do, if you want to learn about cybersecurity or artificial intelligence, it is possible. And in terms of bachelor's of business, in RMIT, Bachelor's of Business is a 3 years degree program. We also have a 4 years, which is 1 more year of the Work Integrated Learning Embedded program. We offer 14 different types of majors that you can consider. And we also have more than 30 minors you can also combine it with. The most popular combination would be 1 major, 2 minors, or 2 majors. So depending on your area of interest, but you do not really need to decide right now what is the majors or minors that you want to consider. But in the future, when you already start your first semester, you will sit with our academics in the university. They will actually guide you on what are the majors and minors combination that you can do. Under our Bachelor's of Business program, there is no exams. All the assessments are done via project-based, assignment-based, test-based, and not final exam-based. So if you want to do well in RMIT, it doesn't work if, let's say, you leave everything until the last minute, the day before your final exam, you go memorize everything from the book and then go into the exam. It doesn't work that way because in RMIT, all our assessment is actually accumulation. Every maybe few weeks, you have a assignment due or a project due or an assignment due or a small test in class. So by this, maybe by the third quarter of your entire semester, you will roughly know what are the grades that you can actually achieve for that particular subject already. So in RMIT, we have 2. One is biomedical science and one is biomedical engineering. So biomedical engineering would focus more on like the medical equipments or medical related equipments, or else the biomedical science would focus more on like the human cell systems, physiology or biochemistry or microbiology. So this Bachelor's of Biomedical Science, the main focus will be more on like research related. So if let's say after you graduate from this program, what are the areas that you can work in? Usually would be along the research area. Okay, so once you have accepted RMIT University, we will actually put you in a WhatsApp group where a lot of our senior students are actually in this particular group. So they will actually guide you on how to do your enrollment, where should you go for dinner on the first day that you have arrived, or if let's say you need any study assistance, you need any like guidance on where to buy this, where to buy that, they would be able to guide you through. So a lot of students will feel very welcome once they have accepted the offer because they actually know their friends or their seniors before they actually travel all the way to Melbourne alone. It's very common that international students, they feel homesick in the first few weeks in the university. It's just part of life as an international student, but eventually after 1 month you'll be very, very fine because there'll be a lot of people that will be able to help you in that.